Welcome to Violet Light Tarot. This is the weekly reading for July 13th to the 19th. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time, whichever it is. We have a pick a card reading for you today. You can choose either pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3. You can also pick the crystal cards, which are Flint, Ancestralite, or Selenite. Also, the cards actually have numbers as well, so we have 2 for Flint, 47 for Ancestralite, and 21 for Selenite, just in case those are possible options as well. I will be doing a short meditation in just a moment as well, but wanted to first of all thank everybody for joining today, and also get in some astrological news for what is going on this week for absolutely everybody. So you may or may not know, but on Saturday, Chiron went into retrograde, which means actual healing can begin for a lot of people. And with Mercury going direct in Cancer today, actually, when I'm filming this on the 12th at, I think it was 4:26 a.m. Eastern. Basically, all of the misunderstandings that we've all been having and all of the issues we've all been having for the past 3 weeks will start to dissipate. Note that is start to, because the shadow from the retrograde can take place for up to a week to 2 weeks after the fact. But it does give us a chance to breathe now and to really sort of come out of that reflection that we've been in for the past 3 weeks, work on fixing any misunderstandings with people or with ourselves, and also we have the chance to work on our compassion, because with Mercury now in Cancer going direct, it brings in that sort of compassionate side to pretty much everybody. Tuesday, the 14th, we are going to be having the Mars is going to be conjunct, which is, it's an alignment with the Chiron, which is in retrograde. So basically you've got Chiron, which is the wounded healer, astrologically, and you've got Mars, which is the warrior planet, are going to be meeting. This means that we'll be able to reflect everyone, no matter your actual gender or gender identification. Everybody has a masculine side or an inner masculine to them, and you'll be able to reflect on any wounds you might have. Look at anything where you've been feeling any kind of powerlessness, either, again, with yourself, your emotions, or literally in your day-to-day life. This can include anybody who's been feeling impotent, and impotent doesn't necessarily have to mean sexual. It can, of course, and does, but you can feel impotent or as if you're unable to perform in other aspects of your life as well. It'll also help with any kind of repression you've been having. Also on Tuesday, but also following into Wednesday, we have the Sun is going to be opposite all 3 of Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. Now, before anybody gets in the comments and says, Pluto, as far as astrology is concerned, Pluto is still a planet. I'm all for it. Let's go with it. The Sun is currently in Cancer, which means that everybody's kind of focusing on their life balance with regard to their personal life and their social life. And it's going to empower us by being opposite to these particular 3 giants. Any behaviors that we've taken on to adapt to society, anything where you feel you've had to do to assimilate to social norms, this can include career choices that may not align with your true self. You will begin to question these for these 2 days, both the 14th and 15th, or Tuesday and Wednesday. This also takes place again on the 20th, so next Monday, which is also going to be the full moon, a second full moon in Cancer. So big day that day. We'll get into that when we do the next reading for next week. But that's another day when this particular event happens. So if you have anything where you're thinking you're going through something and then all of a sudden it feels like it stops when you're reflecting on your empowerment and you're like, wait, I think I need more than the 2 days, don't worry, that particular alignment is coming back on the 20th. Yeah, so we have a busy week. Also, please remember that in this particular case, with all 3 of those planets, for Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, they are currently actually in their own retrogrades, which can have an additional effect as well with regard to your particular issues or needs with regard to your choices, your need to really come out as your personal self. Those are actually in retrograde. Jupiter is until the September 13th, Saturn until the 29th, and Pluto until October 4th. So that's your astrology news for the week. Let's get into this reading, and let's find out what pile you've chosen and find out what your tarot is telling you for your week, the 13th to the 19th. If you're ready for your mini meditation, please go ahead and sit back and relax. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Open your eyes slowly. The pile that your eyes were drawn to is a pile that's intended for you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. See you in your pile. Welcome to those who picked pile 1 or the flint crystal. This is your pile for the 13th to the 19th. Before I get into the actual pile, note that you have not only a purple border around the flint, so there could be something with regard to your third eye chakra going on right now, or your intuition. We can find out when we get into the cards. I have not looked at them, so I'm not sure what they're actually going to tell us exactly. The flint as well is talking about power portals, and the request for this particular card is to strengthen your boundaries, cut through the confusion to the core of the matter, which, Mercury going back into direct, a lot easier to do. It's perfect for that. There is a healing insight with regard to this card as well, stating paying attention to energetic boundaries and core strength, cutting detrimental ties, and strengthen your connection to the planet maintains well-being. So there you go. Yes, I did read that from the book. If anybody's going, your voice sounded really weird there, or my cadence was a little off. Yeah, I'm still learning that particular deck and the exact nuances. So yes, I did read from the book. So your deck for this particular week is actually not just your regular amount of cards, but I've added an archetype card as well, because with the Mars and Chiron retrograde, I figured archetypes need archetypes. So let's find out what your overall is first, and we'll go into the archetype as well to find out if there's anything additional with regard to that. You're starting out with the Four of Cups. You've got the Knight of Swords. And the Four of Cups in reverse. Okay. We have boundaries. Underneath it says, where do you need to establish better boundaries? Let yourself receive. Allow others to give you loving care. Receive without guilt or apologies. We have financial constraints with the number 13. We have risk with the number 31. And we have as your shadow for the week is Fortuna with Fate. So pile 1, yes, there's not only do we have the Four of Cups in upright and in reverse, but we also have 2 4s, technically. The 13 and the 31 both reduce down to 4s. They're also mirror numbers of each other. So yeah, let's figure out exactly what the universe is trying to tell us. So what I'm seeing and how I'm really looking at this is literally a 1, 2, 3 aspect. In that right now you're feeling very lost in thought, lost in feeling, forlorn, really concentrating on the past and things that are gone to you, whether it's lost loved ones or lost opportunities. Something that you really had enjoyed or wanted or loved is now in the past, and you're concentrating on that, even though the universe is saying, hey, over here, you I have something for you, just turn your head just a little bit. And granted, that's completely understandable. And again, like I was saying, with the Mercury retrograde, with being very much in our retrospections, you've been feeling that quite a bit. But with that coming into direct alignment this week, I really see that that's your pile is literally the embodiment of that. So you have the Knight of Swords, which is a message coming in. Now, the Knight of Swords is extremely fast-moving. It's the fastest of all of the knights. With respect to this, though, I see it as a message not only of that, but of truth, and a message as in the universe is literally saying, look over here. And with this particular card also being the Four of Cups, but in reverse, I see you actually coming out of your current state of focus and literally paying attention and almost going like, you know how if you're daydreaming or you're not really paying attention to somebody and they've been talking to you for a second and you're like, oh wait, what were you saying? Because suddenly it dawns on you that somebody's speaking to you. That's what I'm picturing, and that's what I'm seeing as being where you're at right now. And this is what's going to happen is you're going to literally go, like, something in your life is going to click for you and you're going to be like, wait, what was that? And you're going to realize that something's been there for a bit, even in your periphery. You haven't seen it, you haven't heard it, but it's been there, and then you're going to actually notice it this particular week. The boundaries are really something to be very careful of as well, and this could also be with respect to that, as it's going to be where you need to actually put your own borders. So it says you have to establish better boundaries, and with regard to this particular spread and how it's going, I don't see this as being your boundaries with regard to other people. I don't see this as being, setting up that I need you to do this, to do this, to do this, for me to be okay with this relationship, this partnership of whatever type it is. What I see this literally as is boundaries for yourself. Where do you set your own boundaries? Where do you set your own cutoff limits? So it can be with respect to actual cutoffs, things like what time do you go to bed at night, how much do you drink if you happen to drink, like literal physical cutoffs, but I see it also as thought cutoffs. Believe me, I know what you're going through if you have been stuck in this particular state at this time. Remember, this is a collective reading, so some of this may resonate with some, not with all. There is a link in the description below if you're looking for personalized, specific readings to you as well. But for the collective, this is just the general what I'm seeing for pile 1. And what it is that like I said, I understand how sometimes you can almost fall back. And it's not backwards, it's not backpedaling, you're not failing at doing better. It's just sometimes there's a step back occasionally. And so your boundaries are, at what point do you allow that? At what point do you cut that off? So you started to notice new things, you started to notice where your life could be headed, but something is, every now and then there's a trigger of some type. And it can be a song, it can be going down the aisle in the grocery store and seeing that particular cereal box. It can be anything where it brings you back into that daydream or back into that very focused memory of the person or incident that you have been stuck on. And it's like, okay, at what point do you put that boundary? At what point do you go, okay, I've noticed it, and don't try and cut it off completely, because the more you cut it off, it's kind of like a toddler. The more you say no, the more they want something. So the idea is, how much do you allow, or how much do you just say, thank you, got it, that's cute, saw that, oh yeah, that's that cereal, that's that song, oh, I remember when we were in the car, awesome, and keep going. Like literally, thank you for the memory, and keep going. As opposed to absolutely trying to cut it off, like, nope, not going to think about that, because it literally brings in more thoughts of the same thing. And that's kind of going to be the backwards of what you're trying to do. So where do you want your boundaries to be? And don't think you have to master this week at all under any circumstances, even without the retrograde and even without the astrology of it. Psychologically speaking, that is an extremely hard to do thing, especially if you're just trying to do it for the first time. It does take a lot of practice. It is something that you'll be working on. Have patience with yourself. Definitely don't berate yourself at all if you happen to get stuck in what I like to call a loop or a spiral. It's okay. When you realize it, pull yourself out. Again, same thing, being very gentle with yourself. Just pull yourself out, and you're going to be okay with it. You'll get to it eventually where these boundaries will be a lot easier to defend with regard to your own self, and you'll be able to go, thank you, no, to the point where eventually when you see that cereal or hear that song, you won't even feel anything. You'll just eventually, again, this is down the road. This is eventually you'll be able to hear that song again and maybe sing along to it in the car. You won't get that overwhelming feeling. You won't get to that point where you have to change the station, have to hit next on your playlist, whatever your variation is of that scenario. You won't have to run down to the next aisle in the grocery store, leave the grocery store and get back into your car for extreme situations. That's more of a panic situation. If you get those, if you're prone to those, please check out getting actual assistance. Again, we're going on to the next card as well. Let yourself receive. In those cases and in those and even for people who are just in that stage where it's still a bit of a twinge, ask for help if you need it. Ask for help. Ask for assistance. Even if all you do is write in the comments because you don't think you have somebody in your personal life that you can ask assistance from, absolutely here to help as much as I can. Again, as I've stated in the bio, I am in no way licensed, but I do have life experience. I do have some education with regard to psychology classes, but I have no actual license to practice as an actual therapist or counselor. This is all done with love and support to you. What I'm seeing in your mirror images here with regard to your energy card and your House of Night card, the fact that they're mirroring and the fact that they're almost exactly the same. So you've got financial constraints, and this could be something with regard to maybe you have to be a little bit more tight with things this particular week. That's okay. It could also be heading into something where maybe there's going to be an unforeseen bill that needs to be paid, a parking ticket, I don't know, you drop the bottle of milk on the way home so you have to go back and buy another one. It can be literally anything. Financial constraints don't have to be huge. Don't start to worry about that. But at the same time, you're also being asked to risk. So it does almost look a bit like the Fool card, which is the first card of the tarot, in the fact that with new beginnings, you've got somebody standing on a ledge ready to go. In the Fool card, you've got the kid, man, woman, whichever, standing on the edge of a cliff, 1 foot already over the precipice. With the cards mirroring each other with regard to the numbers as well, remember that the 4, if you're looking at life paths, has to do with work and diligence. 4 as well could be home life. Remember, we are in Cancer season still, so that's very, very much in alignment with that, because the 4 is very specific to home life, friendships, interpersonal relations, and keeping alignment with those. You might want to check into what you've got pretty much have 4 4s here, and I'm not sure literally what angel numbers exactly mean direct, because 3 4s mean one thing and 4 4s mean something else. It's kind of similar, but there's a little bit of a distinction between the two. So you've got a 4, a 4, a 4, and a 4. So you might want to check that out as well. But with this respect, though, I'm looking at this as being, you've got on one hand financial constraints, and on the other you have risk. So this could also be two sides of you. It could be you've been having financial constraints and you really want to take that risk, you want to really go into that next space, you do have the shadow card, though, of fate as well. Shadow fate is basically like being concerned that something will happen, being concerned that something will be exactly the same as the previous time. So mirror images, again, you could be wanting to take a risk and feeling that financial constraint because you'd like to invest in something, buy something new for yourself, what have you, especially if you're coming out of this. Retail therapy is a real thing, and retail euphoria is definitely a real thing. I have experienced it in the past. It's basically the concept that when you purchase something, and it usually has to be something of value, so buying like your groceries doesn't count. This is buying something like a new jacket or buying something like a new watch. The euphoria that you feel, the endorphins that you feel are a real thing. And it's a risk because right now you're having some issues with your finances, or you could end up with issues with your finances depending on how big a risk you take. Be aware too, if you have been caught in that cycle, or if you are in that cycle right now, that may be a reason to let yourself receive help, because that financial high, that purchasing high, it is an addiction, and it can become out of hand very fast, because at some point only buying a new jacket is not going to be enough. Only buying that, I'm throwing things out there, only buying that like designer watch, which again you're jumping the price scale by $1,000, is not going to be enough. Buying a new designer bag for $2,006, it all of a sudden becomes that it's not enough, because once you get that higher, like, okay, I can do this again. But to get that same level of euphoria, to get that same level of endorphins, that purchase has to have a higher and higher amount. So be very, very, very careful if you've come into that, or if you start to realize that about yourself. Please, please, please get assistance for that while you can. You can also actually make that your purchase. It's really weird, but it's kind of a catch-22 in the fact that you are purchasing something of higher value depending on how much counseling is where you are, but it actually is beneficial to you because you're getting help for what's happening. Again, this is a collective reading, and that could be for like one or two of you, or something that's going to happen to you in the future if you're having that kind of issue. Okay, so last card that I haven't turned over yet is the archetype card, and for your particular pile, it is the comic. That is adorable, by the way. I love that cute little kitten with that birthday hat on. So, oh, he's got shades on too. I didn't realize that. I thought he had saucer eyes, but I think those are... Oh no, actually, if you look really closely, I don't know if that's making it fuzzy or not. It's actually a person in a cat mask, which is kind of disturbing, but also kind of cute. Just look at the orange cat and don't worry about the human eyes behind it. Basically, the idea behind this particular card is that the comic has plenty of shade to throw at others, and it can fall into the shadow of the drop of a hat. So beware of your sharp claws. So if you happen to be, and yes, I did read that from the book again. Stop calling me out. But yeah, the comic is very much someone who is literally wearing a mask. It's not the mask card, they have one of those as well, but it's somebody who's using humor to mask what's actually going on with them. Been there, done that, still do it quite often. Just be careful that it's not backfiring, because if you are appearing to be happy and in a positive mood, you can actually have people not even realize. So you're sitting here, even in this state, if you happen to be aware of the outside world, you're sitting here going, why is no one coming to ask me how I am? Why can't they see that I'm upset? Why can't they see that I'm having so much trouble? because you are putting on literally this mask of being happy, you're joking all the time, you're laughing. The cliche adage, whatever you want to call it, like laugh, clown, laugh, that kind of thing. It's true. People don't see anything below the surface for the most part. And unfortunately, if you are really, really good at it, even people who are extremely close to you will not see what truly is going on and what's actually happening with you, because you appear to be happy and, I don't want to say well adjusted, because well adjusted sounds either like you're a car or or like you somehow like people need adjusting, and I don't think people need adjusting. I think they need help at times. Everybody does, but even maintain sounds bad. But you know what I'm trying to get at. The idea is that you appear to be on an even playing field, keel, whatever wording you want to use. And so they're not looking past that. They're going, yeah, that person's good. You know, my friend, my cousin, my family member they're fine. They're laughing, they're joking. What do you mean they're having an issue? They're fine, whatever. You have to pull yourself out of that mask that you happen to be wearing, that joking, and actually at times shout to people, no, help me, I'm in trouble. Again, if you don't have anybody you can shout to or don't feel like people will understand, again, comments. I don't know if YouTube has direct message, but that offers out there as well. Again, not licensed, but willing to help and support. And I can help you find resources as well. That's always an option. Anyway, so this is what I have for you, pile one. That was extremely deep. Hopefully you're able to have a good week. I always say have a good weekend, and right now it just sounds so trite. But the fact that you're pulling yourself out of this moment and actually coming back into the world and actually hopefully being able to allow yourself to receive assistance and care, that's what I'm saying for have a good week. Have a positive week. Please have a week where you're able to actually build yourself up a bit and start to work on yourself a bit more and get out of that sort of space you've been in lately. Thank you so much for joining. It's been wonderful reading for you. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, notification bell. If you need to, if you want to, whatever, leave a comment, DM, what have you. Yeah, thank you again. Bye for now. Welcome to those who picked Pile 2 or the Ancestralite Crystal. This is your reading for the 13th to the 19th. We have, first of all, we have the border of this particular card is green. So something to consider for you this week could be something to do with your heart chakra. Is your heart blocked? Are you emotionally closed off a bit? Is that something you need to work on? The other thing to consider as well is Ancestralite speaks of things of your family, secrets in the family coming to light, being aware of any kind of ancestral issues. It can be ancestral sins, it can be ancestral stories that were actually not true. It can also have something to do with your dreams as well. Oddly enough, you are being asked at this particular time, for this week at least, to pay attention to your dreams, whether it's dream journaling. Basically just have your phone notes, a notepad, a journaling book next to your bed, and when you wake up in the morning, just jot that stuff down and see if you can find a pattern within that, or look into the dream books and see what your dreams are actually trying to tell you. So not only with do we have your regular spread this particular week, but Pile 2, but we also have an ancestral card, just because we're doing the Mars and Chiron retrograde, and I thought, you know what, archetypes need archetypes, so let's look at that card after we look at your actual spread. So we're starting off with the Star card in reverse. We have the Two of Pentacles. The Nine of Swords. The Initiation. Rite of Passage, Crossing the Threshold. Blessed Change. A major life change brings you great blessings. Angel of Strength, or the number 50. High Priestess of Fire, or the number 5. And your shadow card for this particular week, pile 2, is Uzumi with Persuasion. Now, one of the first things I'm jumping to right this second is the fact that you have 2 5s, which is actually drawing me to ask you to, if you were partly kind of on the fence as to pile 2, pile 1, check out pile 1, because they had mirroring 4s in the same 2 cards. So it may be something to do with some kind of message in there for you as well. Other than that, jumping in, you have had some issues with your investment in yourself, feeling hopeful, all the things that have to do with the Star card is in reverse, and you've been having your blockages there. Again, we are talking about blockages as well with the heart, and any kind of issue with your hope, and you're really feeling that faith in yourself is actually not happening at the moment. That's okay. We can work with that. You can work with that, don't worry. That could actually be the Mercury retrograde kind of playing itself out in you. The Two of Pentacles is here, so you have been very much balancing something. Now, whether in the aspect of Cancer, you've been balancing work and life, or what have you, you have been juggling. Sometimes with this particular card, it doesn't have to do with balance exactly, it has to do with juggling things and being worried that something's going to drop. That worry that you've been feeling and that lack of hope and lack of faith in things is causing you to have anxiety, and it's causing you to have sleepless nights. You've been worried, you've been awake. Now your insomnia may not be fully sleepless nights. It could just be going to bed and your mind just can't stop moving. Again, as I said, the dream journaling might be helpful for you, because it could be something that you're actually working through in your dreams and just not really grasping it, because even if you're somebody who remembers your dream that morning, if I asked you what your dream was about Friday, last Friday, or, even 2 days ago, depending on when you're seeing this, can you tell me? So that's why journaling can be effective for you as well, is because you're working through things, but you're not piecing them together as they come sequentially to you, or as they come to you. It could be part here, part here, part here. You do have the initiation, though, so what I'm seeing in this is that it says rite of passage or crossing the threshold, and literally you're coming out of this darkness, coming out of this dark space, and you are coming into this space of light. So you are actually coming into where the star can see. Because this is purple, I'm getting this very, very much that it's not necessarily daylight. I don't think it's actually Earth, but I'm seeing it more of this is kind of in the background. I'm trying to get this into frame. This is what happens when you use your phone. But I see this as you're in the dark and you're being led into the light, which is, it's back here. It's right here. And all you got to do is walk through. you are going through a blessed change right now, like this particular week, and it's almost the mermaid and dolphin version of the Tower card. Before you panic, remember that it says blessed change. Tower moments are not in and of themselves bad. It just means the tearing down of a previous what have you. It can be a self, it can be a situation you've been in, it can be a mindset you've been in. Something in that is coming apart right now, and a blessed change is coming to go in its place. You have the Angel of Strength holding you right now. If you don't believe in angels, that's perfectly fine. It's the same as the Strength card in Tarot, in the fact that an aspect of you, your strength, it's coming into the forefront right now. So you may have been feeling very lost, very, I don't want to say weak, but you get what I'm saying. And you are actually going to find your strength and find your ability to make it out of where you've been feeling this past while, and really having that change as you're coming into yourself. You do have the High Priestess of Fire. Now, whether you happen to be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or if it just happens to be an aspect somewhere in your chart, remember that most people somewhere in their natal chart pretty much have nearly all zodiac signs. The fire element just really depicts desire, excitement, adventure. Something in you is really kind of getting that adrenaline going for you, and it's really pulling you into that's, and again, the strength, it's pulling you, they're telling the same story, it's pulling you into yourself, your higher self, not your like 5D self, but your higher self, is in, it's pulling you into your stronger version, your next aspect, which is a more healed version of you. The other thing I have for you as well is your shadow card, which is kind of what's holding you back, what your concern is at the moment, what's really worrying you right now. And what you have is persuasion. And it could either be you're worried about being persuaded by others. It could be that others are persuading you and you're not sure how to deal with that. And again, a change is coming, so it could be that you're actually going to be leaving that particular job, that friend group, that whatever. Something's going to happen so that you're away from those people who are having that bad effect on you. If it's you're worried about your own self, and I'm just getting this real notion because, again, like I said, I mentioned that if anybody's had pile 1 and pile 2, pile 1 had something with regard to feeling drawn to a certain aspect. So you might be worried right now about being persuaded in yourself, like your darker aspect, your shadow aspect, persuading you into a sort of former version of yourself, or persuading you to, as your ego state would do, lock you into where you are right now because it feels safe. You live here right now. You exist here right now. This is safe to you because it's known. And your ego could be holding on to that and persuading you to stay here. We know where we're at. It's fine. Here is fine. We can live with here. Here is good. Here we are safe. We are going well. We have food. We're doing everything we need to do. We're perfectly fine. And that's the persuasion that's coming internally from you. But right now you're also being asked to literally realize that something better is coming for you right now. You do have that blessed change, and you do have the initiation to come into a stronger version of yourself, to look at what you truly desire, what really gets you going, adrenaline-wise, excitement-wise, and pull yourself into that next space, pull yourself into that lighter space. And that's why your ego is working so hard at keeping you where you are, because it's afraid of your next space, because it doesn't know. You don't know. When I say it, I mean ego, and ego is you, so you don't know. You don't know where you're going. That's fine. It's scary as anything, but it's perfectly okay. It's okay to be scared. Do things scared. And that sounds insane, and your ego is basically going, "Are you nuts, lady?" But the idea is, it's okay that you don't know. It's okay that you don't know how to act. I hate the concept of fake it till you make it, because faking it always seems wrong. I always prefer, it's okay to have fear. It's okay to be afraid. Do it anyway. If somebody's asking you to go bungee jumping, maybe really listen to that. Or skydiving for the first time or something like that. You're kind of having that. That's one thing. Walking along the edge of a building because somebody dares you. Keep that fear. Listen to that fear. Listen to that ego. But if somebody's saying, say hi to that person you see on the patio. Say, apply for that new job that looks like it's insanely what you really want to do and feels very exciting, and you're like, I don't know, I mean, yes, it's better in some ways because it's exciting, but at the same time, I'm fine with where I am. And it's like, yes, are you really fine with where you are, or is where you are really that blessed change that you need to get away from? Is this that time where you are literally getting away from those coworkers that are keeping you here? Is the situation you're in keeping you in sleepless nights, and you find yourself really kind of looking at the want ads, or your LinkedIn gets pinged by a company and you get an email or a phone call, and it sounds awesome. It's exactly what you may want to do. Maybe you're a little underqualified for it, but they're calling you for a reason. Do it. Apply for it. Go to the interview. Really be in your own strength, be in your own fire, and as weird as it sounds, tell your ego to take a hike for a minute and be afraid, do it anyway. Your archetype card for this particular week of the 13th to the 19th is the Offering. Okay? How awesome is that? Actually, how awesome is that card? That is so cool. The Offering talks about two different things. It can talk about the fact that you are a very giving person, but it also warns to be careful on the negative side, that you're giving for the right reasons. Are you offering your assistance, or are you offering your material gains, what have you, because somebody needs them, or because you're looking to get something in return? Be aware of where your giving nature comes from, what its true intent is. Offer what you need to offer what you feel you can. But just be aware of why you're offering whatever it happens to be. So this is what I have for you, Pile 2, for the week of the 13th to the 19th. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for watching, for clicking on this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's been a wonderful experience reading for you. Try and have a good week. Find something even remotely fun, something tiny, that worries you occasionally, or you're not too sure about. Remember being safe, but do something a little scarier, or something that you're just not too sure of, just something small. Be adventurous. Live that high priestess of fire that's in you. Have a wonderful week, guys. Bye for now. Welcome to those who chose Pile 3. This is your reading for July 13 to the 19. We're starting off with the Selenite Crystal card, which speaks of banishing confusion. Any kind of reconciliation may be possible. Now, this could be actually any kind of reconciliation. So if you've had a friendship or a co-workership, or an actual partnership actually kind of goes sideways, especially during the retrograde. This is really a time to come into that this week and sort of make that first move. Remember that forgiveness and making that first move is not a weakness. It's not a sign of being okay with whatever the other person said. It's literally for you to keep yourself light and keep the negativity out of your life and your existence and your energies. The card also talks about clarity being needed, so remember to speak your truth at all times during these instances, and to remember to get rid of any confusions. Be prepared for challenges and changes, because there will be aspect changes to that particular relationship, and there may be challenges and changes overall. The card does have a border that's in purple, which also speaks of the third eye chakra, so your intuition is on a high at this particular time as well. So as well as your regular reading for this particular week, pile 3, we do have an archetype card which we'll get to at the end. I figured, especially with the Mars and Chiron retrograde conjunction happening this particular week, getting an archetype card might be a very good idea. So your cards for this week happen to be the Empress, the Six of Swords in reverse, the Empress again, Transformation, and underneath it says, things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing, Alchemy, again, change. You have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. Broken Heart, card number 9. Chaos, also a number 9. Medea is your shadow card for the week, or your underlying concerns and thoughts with deception. Okay, pile 3. The first thing I'm going to say, there is so much synchronicity in every single pile this week. If you're one of those people who hung out with us for the entire reading because you weren't sure which card pile to pick, or you were really just drawn overall to the entire message of everything, you will realize and know. If you were stuck between, I don't know which pile, I'm not sure, maybe pile 3, please go back and at least glance through the first 2, because, again, the synchronicities, I'm telling you. You have 2 Queen cards, okay? The Empress, the Queen, same thing. You have 2 cards that are the Empress. just reiterating the fact that you are currently in your absolute power. You are birthing something, whether this is the fact that you happen to be pregnant. Congratulations, hopefully is the right wording for that. If not, support. The Empress card could just literally be birthing a new version of yourself, birthing something. It can be material as well, so a new project, a new business, anything to that effect. But having her twice, not only do you have her twice, you also have 2 9s. Like literally 2 9s. You have your Broken Heart card as a number 9, and so is the Chaos card. Other piles, the first pile, their cards of these particular types had mirroring numbers, and their cards of these particular types broke down to the same number. I can't make this stuff up. I don't know what's happening this week. Something really good, whatever it is. Again, the messages were deep in those particular ones as well, so good can be, relative. But yeah, you do have the Six of Swords in reverse as well, so this can talk about a delay in movement. It could also be that you've been blocked from going somewhere. That can be as simple as your particular country or whatever doesn't allow for travel to wherever you were hoping to go this summer. Or it could just be something fell through with regard to you were going to move, you wanted to start a new job, you haven't found that new job, so you're kind of staying where you are with regard to that. But you are in your own power. You're going to be, if you are ending up having to stay where you happen to be with regard to a job, a housing issue, what have you, what you're finding though is that you are in your power, in your element at this time. So what has felt maybe overwhelming, mundane, just not where you want to be, this week you are finding that new way within yourself, or that new power within yourself. You're changing your entire inner aspect. Again, alchemy, whatever you're touching is turning to gold. So you are literally bringing yourself into a new, I know there's a word for it, like a mindset, or a new chapter where you come at everything from a stronger perspective. Come at everything from your Empress energy, as opposed to feeling defeated, feeling blocked, feeling stuck. Again, we don't have any Two of Swords, we don't have any Eight of Swords, we have no stuck energy, we have no Hangman, we have nothing to that effect. All we have here is power, lack of movement, yes, but we do have power. Transformation, also again, and it does say deep healing. Usually interior work. Remember that you are being asked as well to resolve any issues you've had with previous people. Really be aware of any challenges or changes that are occurring this week, and you will be in your power this week, so you will be able to come at it from your strongest self and embody that strong self and win from that strong self. Broken heart is actually literally very specific, not specific to a person because this is a collective reading, but very specific in the fact that this is literally specifically talking about how you have been feeling lately. You have been feeling slightly broken, slightly torn down, or majorly. Again, it could be both. Slightly in one aspect, majorly in another. Two different people I could be hearing from. It has caused you chaos, and you are feeling that. You're feeling that internal turmoil with regard to wanting to change, and you've been a little bit hard on yourself, and you have been deceiving yourself at this time. Be very, very careful of that this week, and be very careful of the fact that you feel you almost have that imposter syndrome coming up as well, is what I'm hearing for this particular week, because you feel that this new high power version of you, this new Empress energy that's really coming into you and bringing in your, Mars in Aries is happening right now, and it's really like bringing out that strength, bringing out that you don't have to be in Aries to really feel that. It's just something that's happening and everybody's feeling it. You're feeling that sort of higher power, that higher strength. That warrior side of you is really coming into effect right now. It's causing a bit of chaos within your internal self because you're used to being maybe a little more quiet. You're used to feeling a little bit more behind the scenes, sometimes unheard, which has been breaking your heart, of course, and I'm sorry for that. You are definitely heard. You are worth hearing. You are worth every aspect of happiness. The deception and why she's holding her head in this, and why I'm seeing Medea really like just grabbing her head and just is it's an internal struggle, because not only do you feel deception from outside, which is causing the broken heart and causing the chaos, but you're also feeling a little deceptive from inside, and like I said, imposter syndrome, because you and yourself do not feel that strength at this time. You're feeling the power of it, and you've got that moment of, I can do anything, but then occasionally you'll come into like a shadow moment, or where you kind of stop and you start to have those backward thoughts of, this isn't me, is it? I'm not actually this strong. Why am I pretending to be strong? I'm not this strong. And you'll have that going on occasionally. The idea right now is to try and push that to the side. be very aware of the fact that you can't just tell it to shut up. And a lot of people, they'll say things like that. They'll say, oh, just, stop thinking like that. I love when people say that. Stop being anxious, stop worrying. Yeah, it doesn't happen. It does not happen. That actually causes an increase. And it causes an increase also when you do it to yourself. So I'm really feeling what I'm saying. Again, please check out Pile 1 and Pile 2 if you get a chance. There's messages in there for you, I'm sure. The idea with this is that you cannot kind of give yourself that same pep talk that you hear from other people, because it will backfire. You can't tell yourself, stop thinking that way, stop thinking negatively, because the second you try to tell yourself to stop thinking a certain way, the more thoughts you have in that direction. It happens every time, absolutely every time. The idea is to be gentle with yourself, to be in that self-care mode. You are meant to be this strong person. You are this strong person. It's not a phase you're going through. It's not a mask you're putting on. It's not something that you're pretending to be. You are literally this strength. And if you're a man watching, remember that it's not gender specific. It's literally the strength within you is truly within you. The transformation that you're going through right now is just bringing that to the forefront, and it's bringing you into alignment with that strong self. The reason why you're feeling deceptive is because it's new to you. The reason why you're feeling like you're an imposter in this particular aspect of your life is because this whole entire thing is new to you. It's causing chaos within you. It could actually be breaking your heart also, because at times you will come through a thought pattern that is, why couldn't I have been like this last week? Why couldn't I have been like this when I had that relationship or when I had that situation? Why wasn't I this strong when? Those thoughts will break your heart even more. Those thoughts will bring you down. You'll still be in your power, but they will bring you down. The thought right now that you need to keep is tell yourself, thank you. I understand that would have been a great position to come from, but where I was in my life and the person I was at that particular time went through that particular situation the best she or he could. The person I am now is because I went through whatever that happened to be. The strength that you're feeling now, the empowerment that you're feeling now, is because you survived all of those situations, all of those people, all of those heartaches. And you're now coming into that healed, strong, powerful version that comes with surviving all of that. You're not being deceptive. You're not faking anything. You're living your true, transformative warrior power that you were always meant to get to as soon as you went through all the unfortunate stages that you've had to go through to get here. Your archetype card for this particular reading, I'm done with it. I am literally done with the synchronicity that's going on right now. Can you read that? Can you read that the synchronicity? I'm using that word and I shouldn't. In the fact that I should be saying, can you read your card? Your archetype is the word that I meant to come out with, is the Queen. Queen/Empress. Queen/Empress. Transformation into your archetype. Your literal archetype at this moment is Queen. It's embracing power. It's embracing individuality. It's embracing strength. Be aware that this particular archetype and this particular power does come with some downfalls in the fact that be aware of how you treat people. Remember that you are meant to be talking to people and really fixing relationships or mending relationships, or at least coming to a closure in a relationship that benefits you and the other person, or at least helps you to heal. Be aware that the Queen archetype does come with a darker side of that sort of Queen of Hearts, Alice in Wonderland, off with her head kind of thing. You do have that ability to take that strength to the wrong level. Be aware where you're at. Be aware where you came from to get here, and you'll be able to swerve any kind of action that will put you into the negative aspects of it as well. I am shook, pile 3. That's all I can say. This has been an insane reading all around for this particular week. I am shook. Shook is the only word I can come up with. Shook of this whole thing. Thank you so much for allowing me to read for you. It's been a wonderful pleasure. It's been an amazing experience. I hope you have a wonderful week. It looks like you're going to have an amazing week. Remember to be careful with how you're feeling, and just go with the fact that you are strong and worthy and a wonderful person overall. You'll be okay. You'll make it. Again, thank you. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification as always, and we'll see you in another reading. Bye for now.